Listen to him threatening him. He said, I'm not doing this. You are not going to get a black man, a real black man, to agree to do this to another black man. Can't wait. I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background.
Hold up. Did the industry really try to unalive Katt Williams for going against them? Chill, y'all better get a chair for this one, because Jaguar Wright just spilled some major tea about the time that the industry tried to take Katt's life for turning down a deal with the Illuminati. Jaguar claims there was even a point in time where Katt used to wear bulletproof vests in his sleep. His house was broken into several times with armed men who were paid by some elites in the industry to unalive him. This ain't the first time it's been revealed that the industry's trying to silence Katt, but people just don't know how deep this thing really gets. We all thought blackballing him and accusing him of being a crackhead was the most they was gonna do, but it turns out they've been on the hunt for Katt like some kind of animal for quite some time now, and they don't plan on pumping the brakes no time soon. Now, as most of y'all already know, Katt pissed off the entire industry a few months ago when he appeared on Club Shay Shay and exposed everybody. He came for a lot of people during that interview and had them scrambling for days trying to clear their names. He spilled major tea about big names like Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, Diddy, Jay-Z, and a whole lot of other celebrities. He called Kevin an industry plant and claimed that Kevin is nothing but a puppet who was placed in the industry to replace him.
15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies, but Jussie Smollett gonna keep lying until you say we don't believe you.
He also didn't hold back from dragging Steve Harvey for being a fraud and copying other comedians in the game. He accused Steve of being jealous of the late Bernie Mac, and he claimed that Steve was against Bernie when he was alive. But as soon as he passed away, he stole Bernie Mac's whole style and Mark Curry's jokes.
You stop it. That man was funnier than all of y'all, and y'all thought y'all had one over on him. You thought he was black and ugly, and you were good looking, and he couldn't make it because you did. And that ain't the way comedy works. The king is the funniest. Period. Every time. And that's why no audience member was ever swayed. It didn't matter where Bernie went. You think if Bernie went first, he wasn't the king? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get your ego out of this. You let the best be the best.
And if that wasn't messy enough, he also spoke about the time when Ice Cube and the producers of Friday After Next tried to film a scene of him being SA'd by Terry Crews because they thought the scene would be funny. Katt said he was strongly against it and told Ice and the producers there was just no way he was gonna film that scene because there was absolutely nothing funny about a man SAing another man.
The truth of the matter is, the Money Mike in the original script got in the bathroom, and that's what Ricky Smiley was okay with. Katt Williams had to take the risk in front of the studios and the cast and our powers that be in his very first movie and say respectfully, humbly, guys, if we're talking about anything else, I have no credibility and I have no pull. But we're talking about comedy,
right,
where I have all the credibility and all the pull. The problem with Friday After Next is we're trying to make a classic comedy. And this comedy involves a rape. And rape is never funny, no matter who it happens to or what the circumstances are. If you would allow me to allow us to do this movie without a black man getting raped, involved in it, I promise you that it will be twice as funny as it would be with him getting raped. So considering that's the real story, why would you bring up that story? 35 members of the cast and crew have never brought up that Ricky Smiley was gonna play Money Mike. No one ever saw me put on a Santa Claus suit. We got a wardrobe department. They made a Santa Claus suit for me. Why that wasn't in the bloopers?
And do y'all remember what I said about Katt accusing Kevin Hart of being a plant? Well, he did not hold back on that because he went in on Kevin, honey.
Only seen at the Laugh Factory. In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies.
I know Katt sounds like a bit of a hater, but when you think of it, there really is no proof of Kevin hustling his way to the top like other celebrities had to do. I mean, one minute nobody knew who he was, and the next minute he was everywhere.
These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25 years?
He also accused Kevin of sometimes taking money from the elites, not to speak up against important issues, and only push the narratives they want to push.
Why, when I walk in a room, heads go down. Behind my back, I'm nothing. I'm just a regular old comedian that's bitter and jealous. But in my face, no, no, no. The king has walked in and they have to respect it only because I've not taken the shortcuts. I've not been funded. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves.
Katt revealed that as a result of him not wanting to compromise his morals, a lot of movie roles were snatched from him and given to Kevin. Because Kevin has no moral compass and was willing to do whatever they asked him to do.
Every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetch it out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem. And then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was. And acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard. But, yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Like,
now, the crazy thing about all the things that Katt said in that interview is that Jaguar has already said them all in the past, but she was labeled as crazy. For example, during Katt's interview, he went off on Diddy and accused him of indulging in some shady behavior behind the scenes.
All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. Because the people want to know, well, why would he get blackballed?
Yeah,
oh, because
because
in 30 years I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing,
you will tell it.
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that, I value that, I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know and they all know it. They all know it. They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my piece in front of all my people at my agency.
But see, this is something that Jaguar had already exposed in a series of different interviews. She accused Diddy of taking advantage of his power to get to young men and forcing them into doing things they ain't want to do. In fact, a few years before Diddy was exposed by Cassie, Jaguar went on one of her IG rants and revealed that a lawyer who used to work for Diddy in the past told her about the time they walked in on Christopher Williams giving Diddy top in his office. Jaguar claims Diddy knew very well Christopher was straight, but still forced Christopher to go down on him in exchange for a record deal.
I don't know. I guess he wanted to sign. I don't know what happened. But Puff was supposed to be giving him a demo deal, and he gave him a demo deal, and I guess it was supposed to turn into an album deal, which that never happened. But this young woman walked in to get approval on some paperwork. See? And when she walked in, the door wasn't locked, so she didn't think twice about just walking in. And when she walked in, she saw Christopher Williams performing fellatio on Puff. Now, from what she said to me, it was disturbing because, you know, they didn't stop. She just walked out, and she just kept her head down at the office the rest of the day, I believe it was. And I don't think it was at the end of business day that day, but I think it was the following day. He came into her office and was like, yeah, so you came in there, so what? What you gonna do? You wanna say something? And she was like, oh no, she was like, I just don't understand why you left the door unlocked. If you were in there doing that, why would you leave the door unlocked? He said, I'll do whatever the fuck I want to do in my building. And I just don't know. He was like, it's power, see? I can make a man, he said, if I can make a man suck my dick, I can make people do anything.
And it doesn't look like Jaguar is letting up anytime soon, because she just revealed some disturbing information about the time that the industry tried to unalive Katt in his own home. I mean, we all knew the industry was trying to end Katt, especially around the time that they started arresting him almost every week for little things and heavily pushing the agenda that Katt was a bitter old substance addict who's still trying to cling onto his past glory.
Frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy.
Yeah.
You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You f***ed off promo shoots. You f***ed off your promo trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose you.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what? I got to fix me, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to stand up for comedy. So take responsibility for what you did. You. Nobody else did. You don't hear Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, the Kings of Comedy, Seinfeld. You don't hear George Lopez, Eddie Griffin. You don't hear who else can I go down the road of other comedians? Steve Martin, Martin Short. You don't hear the guys that got on top and that made it by doing what they love complain about the people that are coming under them. The reason why is because they're happy with themselves. Don't blame everybody else for your shit. Don't shit on my sister Light because you're not happy with your shit. This shit is earned, it's not given.
Katt took Kevin's comments about him being an addict very personally, and he jumped on IG Live to drag Kevin and to set the record straight.
I had a tumor in my upper jaw and they had to take it out, and they had to block the whole right of my sinus with a piece of metal. So ever since I got out the Marine Corps, I can only breathe out of one nostril, boy. I get my blood tested every 3 months for the last 15 years. All narcotic tests have come up 0.00%. I'm 44 years old, little Tigger. I answer to no one but God. If you are not Jehovah or Allah, I do not recognize your authority.
Now, at the time, we thought that the false allegations about Katt being a kid was all they were gonna do to destroy his career, but it turns out that it actually goes way deeper than that. Jaguar said she and Katt have been very close for some years now, and that Katt was actually the one who empowered her to speak up about what she knows concerning Hollywood.
When he walked into the club, and I was sitting at my table, it's my birthday party, And special ed brought him. And he wanted to meet me. And he came to my party, gave me about 20 grand in cash and said, consider it a down payment on your time. He taught me so much in 9 months. Walking away was hard, but it was when the Illuminati first started coming after him.
Jaguar said there was a point in time when a bunch of armed unalivers who were paid to unalive Katt broke into his house shortly after she left and tried to finish him off. It's unclear how exactly Katt got out of that situation, but according to Jaguar, Katt used to be so scared for his life that he would wear a Kevlar to sleep every night. For those of y'all who don't know what a Kevlar is, it's a form of bulletproof vest that protects the person from wearing it from having direct contact with a bullet when they get shot at.
And I'll never forget the day when they breached the house. And I left. You know, back in that moment, Katt was still wearing Kevlar to bed. To bed. I would get in bed with him at night and he would have Kevlar on. Wow. In bed.
Now, at the time of this happening, Katt had an ongoing feud with Comedy Central because they wanted to do some questionable things with him on camera, and he wasn't feeling the BS. You know, very similar to when he had to tell the producer Friday After Next no, because they wanted him to film a scene of him being SA'd by another man because they thought it was funny. Yeah, same thing.
At the moment where it made you want to speak your truth.
He went after Comedy Central. That's what happened. The Flavor Flav roast. The moment that I knew the Snoop Dogg is sold out. That was a hurtful moment. Katt to humiliate Flav, like humiliate him, like no holds barred. And they sent a bunch of jokes. And I'll never forget watching Katt in the office downstairs at the house in Marina Del Rey. And he's sitting there looking at the script and just shaking his head. And then the next thing you know, the phone rang and I'm standing there in the office in the doorway and I'm like, are you all right? He picked up the phone and it was Comedy Central. And I listened to him threatening to kill him. He said, I'm not doing this. You are not going to get a black man, a real black man, to agree to do this to another black man. Dollars. It was a terrible day. And then that's when all the incidents started happening. Them sending people to the house, them putting plants backstage at the shows. I mean, I was on tour with him for American Hustle.
Right.
I was on set for First Sunday.
Right. He said he got arrested over 30 times. Yeah. No convictions.
I'm getting close.
Go ahead. Go.
But it's been about 30 for him. It's been 8 for me.
Yes.
He felony, I felony. You know, it was just terrible. And when I would think back to that moment, and then they called him the day the day before filming and asked him, was he going to be there? And he said no. And then the next thing you know, production went on later on that day and Snoop was already ready. And Snoop did everything that Comedy Central asked. That Flavor Flav roast was Katt's. That was his moment. The Flavor Flav roast and the death of Malik B are the same.
So as you can see, once again, Katt refused to sell his morals and it almost cost him his life. Once they knew that Katt was not gonna do what they were asking of him, they replaced him with another black man and then went after him. This ain't the first time the industry has done this, and it definitely ain't the first time Comedy Central has been accused of trying to take someone's life because they refused to do something. Do y'all remember when Dave Chappelle literally abandoned his entire family and ran all the way to South Africa because Comedy Central wanted him dead after he turned down a $50 billion deal from them? Just like Katt, they were asking Dave to do the things he didn't want to do, and once he said no, they gave the deal to another person and went on a manhunt to unalive him.
But, you know, okay, so then I got worse. So when I said I'm not going to do it, then all of a sudden it was like, well, now he has walking pneumonia. And then I knew long before I walked, I had considered walking.
You had considered
I had considered walking because I went back to work and the vitamin love was gone because it was a real ugly negotiation. It's a situation where now everybody's taking credit for this and that and the other. So it's just, it was getting ridiculous. And I knew I was going to leave, so I got ahead of schedule and I bounced. And I didn't tell anybody where I was going.
At some point in the interview, he talked about how some Hollywood executives tried to force him into taking antipsychotics.
The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah. Like I'm sitting around, you know, I was stressed out, but the people that were telling me I was insane,
I believe that they knew what was going on. So, this was troublesome.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know how these people be trying to control you.
The whole situation is actually really sad, and it's crazy that this is what people like Katt and Jaguar have to go through simply because they want everybody to know the truth about Hollywood. And mind you, these are just the people we know about. Imagine everybody else who the industry has successfully unalived because they knew too much. One person said, Jaguar Wright and Katt Williams are single-handedly taking down Hollywood, which is pleasing to me, I can't lie. Another person said, I've been saying there's no such thing as coincidence. For multiple people to come out and say the same thing, it's no coincidence. She's talking big facts, and I love it. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do y'all think about Katt running for his life? And do y'all think Katt's life is in danger? Y'all been knew what to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.